welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. We'll begin with a roll call.
You're muted, Mrs. Kincaid.
Mr. Hemingway. I thought I saw Mr. Hemingway on the list.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Deeroff.
Present.
Mrs. Hogan.
Present.
Mrs. Denon.
Here.
Mr. Brophy.
Here.
Ms. Nyman.
Here.
Mrs. McWhirter.
Here.
Mr. Updegrove.
Here.
Mr. Foose.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, next we will do a Pledge of Allegiance followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so for many, they will be viewing this after the fact because we have had some technical issues that prevented this from being streamed live. The next item that we have is announcement of previous executive session. The Board of School Directors met on the following dates in executive session on November 17th for 90 minutes on the topic of special education and legal issues. And tonight, November 24th, for approximately 45 minutes on, I guess, sorry, what? Yeah, for an informational session.
It was an informational executive session, yes.
All right, the next item that we have is public comment period number 1. Do we know if anyone has signed up?
We do not have anyone.
Okay. So we have no one signed up, and we will therefore move to approval of the minutes.
You have to unmute yourself.
I have a motion from Ms. McWhirter and a second from Mr. Brophy. Any comments or questions on the minutes from November 10th? Okay, we'll move to the vote then.
Mr. Hemingway.
Yes.
Mrs. Deeroff.
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan.
Yes.
Mrs. Denon.
Yes.
Mr. Brophy.
Yes.
Ms. Nyman.
Yes.
Mrs. McWhirter.
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove.
Yes.
Mr. Foose.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
The next item this evening is recognition, our student showcase. Okay, so this evening, we have 2 students that we'll be recognizing. First, congratulations to seniors Eric Mothersbaugh and Emma Diamond. Eric was the only BASD athlete to qualify for states this year in cross country. He ran in 1839 at the state meet. Ashley Gilman, class advisor of 2021, has written, Eric is a very driven young man who sets very high goals and standards for himself. He works hard both in and out of the classroom to achieve these goals. He does not allow any obstacles to stand in his way. He is self-motivated and focused. He has proven to be an important member of the 2021 class office team. He's a creative thinker and can motivate and lead his team. It has been a privilege working with him over the past 3 years. He has a very big future ahead of him. Also, we have Emma Diamond. Emma Diamond is currently attending both Boyertown Area Senior High School and the Berks Career and Technology Center. At BCTC, Emma participates in the painting and decorating program. During her high school career, Emma has had the opportunity to participate in classes that have allowed her to flourish both academically and socially. Following graduation, Emma plans to work for a painting company and may even start her own painting company one day. This past quarter, Emma was recognized as BCTC's Student of the Month. Rachel Klein, painting and decorating instructor, has written about Emma and her accomplishments. Emma is actually a student in my painting and decorating class. She has been with me since her 9th grade year. She is an exceptional student. Emma can be relied on to hand in her work on time. She's a great mentor to the younger students, and her hands-on work in the shop and over the house project is outstanding. She was chosen as my student of the quarter for the first quarter for this reason. So at this time, I'd like to congratulate both Eric and Emma on all their accomplishments and being such great representatives of our school district. All right, and they will be receiving certificates, obviously, given the hybrid virtual remote setting that we're doing. Unfortunately, we're not able to recognize them in person at this time. The next item that we have on tonight's agenda is the report of the president. So I'm just going to take an opportunity, as this is our last meeting before our reorganization. I want to say first, I want to extend another congratulations to both those students, and also point out that Eric has served as our student representative and has been everything that I just read about him, written by others. I mean, we can all attest to that as well. He's been outstanding to work with, and we certainly wish him the absolute best in his future. As board president for this final meeting here before our reorg, I just want to say it's been an absolute honor to serve in this capacity. As a graduate of Boyertown Area Senior High School in 2002, this school district will always hold a very special place in my heart. And I've really enjoyed serving in this role, and wish whoever does so in the future the absolute best of luck. And I hope that we continue to move this district in a positive direction. It's unfortunate the circumstances of this year and all the challenges that have been put before us, but I think that Boyertown has proven time and again that we can overcome any obstacle when we work together. So thank you everyone for allowing me to serve in this role. The next item that we have is a finance report.
Good evening. I would like to highlight items for the month of October. For local revenue and local taxes, we have currently collected approximately $70,467,000,000 in the year 2020-21 school year. For delinquent taxes, for the month of October, we collected approximately $37,000. And for state revenue, we have collected basic ed subsidy was approximately $2.2 million. The PDE transportation subsidy was approximately $629,000, followed by the property tax relief subsidy, or $315,000 collected in the month of October. Moving on to federal revenue, the access subsidy was approximately $105,000, followed by the ESSER was approximately $28,000. And in regards to October expenditures, salary and benefits accounts for 71% of the monthly expenditure. This concludes the treasurer's report.
In the recommendation, the recommended action is that the Board of School Directors approves the treasurer's report as presented. Do I have a motion and a second?
Then it moves.
I have Ms. Denon with the motion and Mr. Updegrove with the second. Any comments or questions on the treasurer's report? Okay, we'll move to the vote.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Ms. Deeroff,
No.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Mrs. Denon,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
No.
Mrs. McWhirter,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Foose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-2.
The next item on tonight's agenda is the secretary's report.
No report.
This evening.
Next is the solicitor's report.
No report.
And now we have a superintendent's report on flexible instruction day.
Before we move on to the Flexible Instruction Day report, I did want to give a COVID-19 and in-person instruction in the Boyertown Area School District update. I wanted to let everyone know that to date, we have had 9 secondary and 2 elementary students who have tested positive since August 31st. There have been 4 staff identified. Sorry, I'm getting back feed. There have been 4 staff identified as positive, 2 at the elementary and 2 at the secondary level. I do want to share that mask wearing is enforced, as well as social distancing and hand washing. There are sneeze guards available for all elementary student desks to support with social distancing. That's from pre-K to 5. And out of an abundance of caution, when we were faced with our first staff positive case, I did close New Hanover, Upper Frederick for the week. And this was due to the amount of areas that could have been impacted. And this was a much different case than the cases we have seen since then. So as cases arise and as we feel the need to close a building based upon the recommendations of Department of Health, we will do so. As we are informed of students and staff that are testing positive, we do immediately file paperwork with Berks County Rapid Response Center, who then coordinates with the Pennsylvania Department of Health. Upon being informed of individuals who have tested positive, it is our responsibility to produce a contact list for the Department of Health. Department of Health is then responsible for determining who is considered a close contact and conducting contact tracing. Since our first student case, we have gotten better at alerting staff and families, as we do not always hear back from DOH in a timely manner. So our nurse supervisor has started notifying those placed on the list that she supplies to DOH. This way we're letting people know, and they can make decisions as far as how they feel about quarantining or getting tested. Students that are participating in the virtual model are not involved in extracurricular activities are not tracked due to not having any impact on our school communities. Parents do not have to share with the school if they are quarantining, since they are not sending their children into the building. So it's very difficult for us to become aware of any students that are under self-quarantine due to parents making that determination and then not sharing that information with us, because they are students that are learning virtually or it could be students that are participating in another online model. I did want to share that our pandemic task force has met for the past 2 weeks, and our main goal is maintaining transparent communication on COVID-19. I would ask that anybody watching this recording of this meeting that you please visit our COVID-19 dashboard. It can be easily found on the front page of our website. And this is being updated every single day. We are adding more and more new information to this website so that it is being shared with all of our families and community members so that they're aware of what is happening within our buildings. I did want to do a formal introduction or informal introduction of our task force members, and they are as follows. A representative from the school board is Mr. Brian Hemingway. He is a member that joins us each week. We have Dr. Ravinder Singh, MD, and Dr. Singh did his training from Michigan State University, Sparrow Hospital in Lansing, Michigan, in family medicine. Dr. Singh is board certified in family medicine. He started his career with UPC Family Medicine Clinic, Rural Family Medicine Training Program for University of Buffalo at Olean, New York. He practiced traditional family medicine along with teaching second and third year family medicine residents. Since 2013, Dr. Singh has practiced urgent care and occupational medicine with St. Luke's University Health Network in Allentown, PA. During this time, Dr. Singh was also involved in teaching and supervising PA students during their clinical rotations with St. Luke's West End Medical Center. Currently, Dr. Singh works as medical director primarily at MedSurg Urgent Care in Gilbertsville. Also participating as part of the pandemic task force is Mr. Adam Hertzberger. Mr. Hertzberger has a PhD from the University of Penn in cell and molecular biology, microbiology, virology, and parasitology. He is an associate professor of biology and department chair with Albright College. Mr. Hertzberger is also the father of a Boyertown area school district elementary student. Mr. Dave Blacklock is a respiratory therapist in the critical care unit with Lehigh Valley St. Luke Hospital. Mr. Blacklock also has children attending Boyertown area school district. We also have Miss Alyssa Rohrbach, who is a member of the task force, and Ms. Rohrbach has a Master of Social Work since 2007 from Maywood University. She has provided mental health services as a behavior specialist consultant and mobile therapist. She worked as the mental health worker for Reading School District's middle and high school alternative education program. And currently she's employed as a school-based counselor with Creative Health Services, serving the middle school students at East for the Boyertown Area School District. Ms. Rohrbach is a lifelong resident of the Boyertown Area School District and currently residing in Washington Township with her 3 daughters who are enrolled in the district. Next, we have Mrs. Elizabeth Van Bacchius. She's a certified school nurse. Mrs. Van Bacchius is our nurse supervisor and works directly with the Department of Health, the district certified school nurses, and our staff nurses. She is a member of the National Association of School Nursing. Ms. Van Bacchius has worked for the past 12 years in the Boyertown Area School District, and prior to coming to public education, she worked in various healthcare environments. Representing our educators, we have Mr. Michael Stout, who has an MS in education. And Mr. Stout has worked in education for the past 24 years, working as a special education teacher, special education supervisor, elementary building principal, and currently the assistant superintendent. Mr. Mike Ludwig and Mrs. Barbara Bigler represent the elementary and secondary teaching staff. And between these 2 professionals, they have 70 years experience in public education. Both Mrs. Bigler and Mr. Ludwig hold leadership roles with our Teachers Association. And lastly, not lastly, but next you have myself, Mary Beth Torsha, who has 27 years in public education. My wheelhouse is special education, and of my 27 years, 20 of them have been in leadership positions, serving as a special education director, elementary principal, assistant superintendent, and currently acting superintendent. And another member with our task force is Mrs. Allison Moyer, the communication and marketing specialist. She's been working in public education as a paraprofessional for 6 years with our special education students, and a total of 15 years in public ed, working in various capacities. And she is currently serving as our communication and marketing specialist for the school district and the foundation. The task force does meet each week, and we do provide they do provide meaningful insight to the administration with regards to making informed decisions as we continue to provide in-person learning during this unprecedented time. In addition to the task force, I have met multiple times with the entire Teachers Association via Zoom meetings, answering many questions as they pertain to positive cases, cleaning, and ongoing communication. These Zoom meetings will be reoccurring once per week moving forward. One of the suggestions that had come out of the teacher Zoom meeting is, having me be visible and visiting the school buildings, which has been challenging under these times. But I did make sure that I did do that last week, and I spent the day Friday personally visiting 6 out of 9 of our buildings, where I observed students wearing their masks, engaged in activities, taking mask breaks outside, as well as teachers demonstrating their creativity with in-person and virtual instruction. And the teachers are working really hard. They are very challenged, and they are rising to the challenge. It was quite a great day and an enjoyable day, especially to see the children. We have also began a weekly email to all our staff regarding percent positive numbers for the district, and this information is also being shared across 10 of our Facebook pages for the community. So while our numbers in our communities may be rising, our students and staff are doing an excellent job of maintaining a percent positive significantly below 1%. And if we see an increase, I will act and close a building or buildings if and when necessary to maintain the health and safety of our students and staff. As I report to the board, I will make these COVID announcements at least once per month, if not both times, to just bring everybody up to speed as far as where we're at with regards to what we're seeing in our buildings. So that completes my portion of the report, and now we can go on to Mr. Stout.
Thank you, Mrs. Torsha. Just checking in to make sure everybody can hear me and also that you can see the presentation.
I can hear you.
Okay.
You're off, Brian.
And you can see the presentation, okay?
I can see it fine.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. All right, so I want to do a presentation tonight on a flexible instructional day and the importance of utilizing a flexible instructional day. So my goal tonight is to provide you with an overview of what a flexible instructional day is, as well as what the function will be for a flexible instructional day to be utilized by the Boyertown Area School District. As a reminder, we have to constantly adapt to our ever-changing process, and something that is going to be inevitable this year. We were not blessed last year to have an inclement weather day, which was an amazing thing, although the district certainly had to adapt to a pandemic. There is probably going to be at least one circumstance where we might have to make the decision to close our schools based upon an inclement day, and this flexible instructional day is going to provide us with more flexibility. A reminder of our district focus and our vision, mission, goals. Our flexible instructional day is a situation where the PDE has allowed the Boyertown Area School District to utilize up to 5 flexible instructional days during the course of a school year. The Office of Teaching and Learning submitted an application to the state to be approved to utilize up to 5 inflexible instructional days during the course of a year. With this application to the state of Pennsylvania will allow the Boyertown Area School District to utilize 5 flexible instructional days for the next 3 years. So we do not have to reapply to the school over the next, to the state over the next 3 years to have these days approved. This allows us to allow functional opportunities for our students on an inclement weather day and to not have to utilize a stretch on our calendar to add days to the end of the year. As in a normal inclement weather day, the Mrs. Torsha would be making an announcement via multiple means through a phone call, through email, through a texting process, and would notify our community of our flexible instructional day that would be occurring for the current day that we would be in. Prior to the flexible instructional day, we are working on processes to have our students be prepared for what a flexible instructional day would look like. It would count towards a typical school day. Younger students and students with accommodations that may require supports by an adult would have those abilities to have support provided. The difference here is that all of the activities that would be taking place on a flexible instructional day would be asynchronous. Our teachers would be available via email between the hours of 10 and 2 on that particular day to answer any questions. And prior to the flexible instructional day taking place, our teachers would be setting up opportunities for asynchronous learning for our students to take place of what instruction would happen on that particular day on an inclement day. What will happen from an attendance perspective is that our students will be marked in attendance if they are completing those activities. And by the way, the students have up to 3 days post inclement weather day to complete that assignment. Students with IEPs would be provided an extra 2 days to complete that assignment. So as long as our students completed their assignment based upon those 3 or up to 5 days for students with IEPs, they would be marked in attendance for that particular day. As I talked about a couple minutes ago, students with IEPs would be provided 2 extra days to complete the assignments given on those particular days. Our students are able to access their learning opportunities right now through multiple modalities from a virtual perspective. First and foremost would be Google Classroom. We also have opportunities via a platform called Seesaw. And during those processes, students would have the ability to access those given assignments that teachers would set up. If a teacher, or I should say a student, has a situation where they would lose connectivity, whether they would lose the ability to access the internet, or something would happen, our teachers are going to provide an opportunity that is going to be via a kind of an old school model, but it would be an old school modern way where students could be potentially provided with a choice board at the elementary school level where they would be given opportunities to complete different assignments. At the secondary level, they would be given an offline folder that they would keep on their laptops, and teachers would proactively have activities for students to complete if in fact they had connectivity issues. And again, I remind the school board that the students would be given 3 extra days to complete that assignment based upon their ability to complete whatever they were asked to do, and students with IEPs would have an extra 2 days. Work completion and attendance, I've spoken to this numerous times. Students would be marked in attendance and they would be accounted for on that particular day if they completed their assignment. If a student is ill on a flexible instructional day, they could have a day where they would just be marked not in attendance on that particular day, and they would be marked sick like they would on any other typical day. One of the complexities of looking at the flexible instructional day is, I'll give you an example. Let's just pretend that tomorrow was going to be a flexible instructional day and it was going to be a snow day. And I know tomorrow is an early dismissal day, but let's hypothetically say tomorrow is a full day. So if we were looking at tomorrow as day 3 in the cycle, which up on the example I show up on the board, it's actually on a Tuesday. So let's pretend today is that flexible instructional day so you can see a visual representation. If today was a day 3, the students would follow their day 3 schedule. So they would know exactly in advance of what that schedule would look like on the flexible instructional day. Let's pretend that it is a very bad weather situation that we have, and Mrs. Torsha had to make the decision to close the school for 2 consecutive days. Now, early dismissals or late starts do not count for flexible instructional days because those are days of attendance. But if in fact we had 2 days where we were unable to attend based upon the inclement weather, we would follow a day 3 schedule on both days so that there would be a consistent opportunity for our students And then the first day that we were able to return to our buildings, brick and mortar or virtual, depending on the circumstances, we would still come back to a day 3. So you might ask, well, that would be 3 days potentially of the same schedule. Well, most of the schedules that our students follow as far as their majors, they would have those same main content areas on those particular days. And the reason we would come back to the same day, day 3, is to be able to hold accountability for the completion of assignments for our students over the course of those flexible instructional days. As I stated earlier, on these particular days, teachers would be available via email between 10 and 2 o'clock on that day. Also, the principal, counselor, and nurse would be available via email on the flexible instructional day. And I would like to remind the board and also thank the board for the decision to change the calendar back in summer when we made the decision to start our school year full virtual. If you remember, we moved our start date back from August 24th to August 31st, which had us do 5 days of professional learning for our teachers, which has been invaluable in the process as far as giving our teachers the opportunity to be as successful as virtual instructors as they possibly can. With those 5 days that were taken at the beginning of the year, 3 of those days were 3 snow days already built into our calendar, and 2 days that Mrs. Torsia and myself modified the calendar to provide those learning opportunities. So if we had any snow days this year, we would be adding a day on to the end of the school year. And we want to try to do everything we can to maintain the integrity of our calendar right now so that we don't have to worry about adding extra days onto our year. So again, the application to the state of Pennsylvania was submitted and was accepted by the state of Pennsylvania for us to utilize 5 school days. I'll remind the school board too that I believe back in August, we asked for the permission to utilize our flexible instructional days during the course of the year, which gave us the opportunity to submit the application to the state. The timeline of the events to support flexible instruction. The Office of Teaching and Learning did a presentation to the school district leadership team on November 11th. We sent a communication with guidelines as to what a flexible instructional day looks like for our district teachers. We provided a school board weekly update on November 20th. We are doing, as of tonight, on November 24th, a flexible instructional day presentation to the school board. We're excited. Next week is our virtual week for our students coming back from the break. But what we're excited about is our modified Wednesday that we are going to continue to utilize. We have asked our teachers to not do a flexible instructional day with our students on Wednesday, December 2nd, but to instruct our students as to what a flexible instructional day as of December 2nd actually is. So that when an inclement weather day happens, potentially happens, I might add, that our students and our staff will all be prepared so that when Mrs. Torsia puts out that communication about what this day is, and it's a flexible instructional day, our students and staff know exactly what will happen. So they will practice what a flexible instructional day is. And again, I remind the board that it is not an actual flexible instructional day. It's just teaching what the expectations on that particular day would be. On December 7th, we're working with Mrs. Moyer and communication, and we have a district-wide communication that is going to go out to all of our families. And our webpage that has already been created will go live on that particular day. And then after December 7th, when we potentially have an inclement weather day, we will be ready to roll with the actual flexible instructional day. Again, I'd like to thank the school board for giving us the opportunity to apply to the state. And I thank the state of Pennsylvania for approving the Boyertown Area School District to have flexible instructional days. Are there any questions?
I have my hand up.
Yes, Mrs. Deeroff.
I just have one. Are you saying that when there's a snow day, we're not going to know it ahead of time probably? Do the teachers have material at home to go virtual that day?
Yeah, absolutely, Mrs. Deeroff. One of the things we've tasked our teachers to do is to create these flexible instructional day opportunities asynchronous wise, meaning they don't have to be teaching directly to the students, giving activities that'll happen. They are going to create these activities in advance of that situation happening. So proactively, they're creating the scenarios for kids to access learning on those particular days. The positive piece is that we're going to ask our teachers to have at least 2 days of activities in advance for our kids to be accessing. I will honestly say if we have a really bad snowstorm, and with the way 2020 has gone, I'm hoping that there's no omen in place here. But if we would have to go to 3 snow days, we might have to get creative in how we support our students on that 3rd day.
Okay, so, because they didn't in the past, so they're gonna have it in the future. Like when we had to shut down some rooms or whatever, schools, and we went virtual for a couple days.
Right, Mrs. Duroff, I believe this, and if I'm answering your question correctly, please let me know. This would only be if it would be a snow day where our students would not be able to come to school because it would be unsafe for our students to come to school. And in those situations, it is a real fine line because our teachers could pivot to full virtual instruction as quickly as they can, because right now there is virtual instruction happening in all of our classrooms. But based upon what the state guidelines have provided, and when there is an inclement weather day, we had to come up with another way to support our students if in fact that happens based upon what kids might have access to on a particular day.
So Mrs. Deeroff, I would like to add that students are carrying their laptops back and forth to school each day, as well as the teachers. So as long as they have those laptops, they are ready for a flexible instructional day.
Yep, and to Mrs. Torsh's point, we are given the opportunity for our students to have 3 extra days to complete those assignments. So if for whatever reason, I don't know, if a family loses electricity on a flexible instructional day, on an inclement weather day, and they don't have the ability, and obviously the family priorities on that particular day might be much different than worrying about getting an assignment completed, what they would have the ability to do is have 3 additional days to complete the assignments that are given by teachers. So even to Mrs. Torsh's point, if they would not have their laptop home on that particular day, they have a few extra days to complete the assignment, and the teachers would track that assignment.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I do not see any other questions, Mr. Stout.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stout. And not only are our students taking their devices to school each day, but you will receive a phone call if your student forgets to pack it in their school bag, as I found out. So they are very on top of this. Next, we have the superintendent's report consent agenda.
Yes, thank you. I would like to present for a vote this evening, delinquent tax collection. The next would be the program of studies and the per capita exoneration qualification, as well as settlement agreement for student 102127. And at this time that I would ask the Board of School Directors to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, seeking motion and second.
Hogan motions. McWhorter seconds.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Hogan and a second from Ms. McWhorter. And since this is consent agenda, we will move right to the vote.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mrs. Deeroff,
Yes,
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Mrs. Denon,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mrs. McWhorter,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
yes,
Mr. Foose.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, next we have the superintendent's itemized agenda.
Okay, presented, I would be asking for a motion to authorize the acting superintendent to sign the attestation ensuring implementation of mitigation efforts for the direct instruction of students. The Wolf administration has identified new mitigation efforts, including an attestation process for public school entities that elect to continue in-person instruction for students in counties designated as exhibiting substantial transmission of COVID-19 for 2 or more consecutive weeks based on a disease incidence rate of 100 or more cases per 100,000 residents, or a PCR positivity rate of 10% or greater. These mitigation efforts include an attestation process for any public school entity. A public school entity is defined as a school district, intermediate unit, charter school, cyber charter school, or a career and technical education center that elects to continue in-person instruction as of November 30th, 2020, while the county in which it is located is under a substantial disease transmission designation for at least 2 consecutive weeks.
Okay, and the recommended action is to authorize the acting superintendent and the board president to go ahead and authorize this document.
Daroff moves.
We have a motion from Ms. Deroff and a second from Mr. Updegrove. Any comments or questions on this? Okay, we will move to the vote.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Ms. Deroff,
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Mrs. Denon,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mrs. McWhirter,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Foose.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, that the Board of School Directors approve the personnel item as presented.
Daroff moves.
Brophy second.
We have a motion from Ms. Deroff and a second from Mr. Brophy. Any comments or questions on personnel?
I have one.
Okay, go ahead, Mrs. Denon.
So when I'm looking at some of these resignations are and retirements and also the FERCA leaves, are we able to fill those with just our substitutes, or are we trying to get some long-term substitutes in, and are we having problems filling those gaps?
We are doing all of the above, Mrs. Denon. When we have permanent positions, they're a bit easier to fill, as we need to backfill for anyone that's taking the FFCRA leaves. That can be a bit challenging. Mrs. Frederickson is working very hard with her department and working with our building principals, and we have been able to obtain coverage. It's not been easy. Our teachers are really pitching in a great deal who are in the buildings. So it does come with challenge, but where we do have places that are contracted, we are able to fill those positions.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no others, then we'll move to the vote.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mrs. Deroff,
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Mrs. Denon,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mrs. McWhirter,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Foose.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
The next item we have on tonight's agenda is old business. Don't believe we
No.
have any old business.
No old business.
So we'll move to public comment 2. Okay, no one has signed up for public comment 2. So next, board comment. Ms. McWhirter?
I just want to wish everyone in our district a happy Thanksgiving, a happy and safe and healthy Thanksgiving. And I appreciate all that everything that everyone has done so far. Parents, staff, custodians, teachers, to help keep our district healthy. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and stay safe.
All right, thank you to both my colleagues. Next, we will move to announcements.
Mr. Foose, I would just like to remind everyone that the reorganization meeting will be held December 1st, 2020. This will be a virtual only board meeting, and it will be at 7 o'clock.
Right, that does serves double duty. That also is an indication of our upcoming meeting dates. So thank you for that. I will now seek a motion to adjourn.
McWhorter moves.
I'll second.
All right, Ms. McWhorter moves, Mr. Updegrove seconds, and with that, we are adjourned.